Ever found yourself mid-panic attack, heart pounding like you've inhaled 3 espressos and a Red Bull for garnish, trying to channel your inner calm inspired by Galadriel from The Lord of the Rings, while also hearing the hyenas from The Lion King cackling at your misery in the background? And if CBT worksheets and counselling sessions leave you with that same grim feeling as biting into your crisp sandwich, only to discover the bread was mouldy, this podcast episode is your lifeline. Today we're putting emotional freedom techniques, the EFT, yes, that weird tapping thing that makes you look like you're fending off invisible bees, against the therapy heavyweights, cognitive behavioural therapy, so CBT, and counselling. The goal? To help you finally make the right choices for your healing journey without wasting thousands of pounds or months of your life with a therapist that you secretly dislike. Anxiety, it isn't just a buzzword. It's that constant internal harm that can turn molehills into mountains in 90 seconds flat. Counselling and CBT, they're still the NHS favourites. They've been around for decades and mental health professionals cling to them like toddlers clutching a favourite blanket. But for you, they often fall short. Counselling gives you kind-hearted professionals who nod beautifully while you dissect your personal chaos, and research shows around 60% of people do see symptom improvement after 8 to 12 sessions, which sounds like the podcast episode should end right there. Counselling for the win. Right? Wrong. So wrong. First up, it's slow. It relies heavily on the patient-therapist relationship, and in the most random way ever, you're expected to figure out the solution yourself. It's kind of like rocking up to A&E with a fractured tibia and being given a sling. Now, for those of you not down with the lean lingo, the tibia is in your leg. Slings, well, they're for your arms. It's like the medical version of a chocolate teapot. Effective? Sure, it can be sometimes. Efficient? About as efficient as taking your car to the mechanic, pushing them out of the way, and diving into the engine to fix a problem with your exhaust. Eventually, you're going to figure it out, but you've got to go through a lot of missteps beforehand. CBT, it rewires thought patterns through worksheets, exposure tasks, and enough homework to make GCSE revision seem appealing. A meta-analysis say that CBT reduces anxiety between 50 and 60% in the short term. Woohoo! We're all CBT converts, right? No, wrong again, because it's head heavy. It ignores the body. It doesn't care why you ended up anxious in the first place, and much like those GCSEs, it falls apart if you don't do your homework. Plus, dropout rates continue to hover at around 30%. So for many people, CBT is like debating your anxiety with a smarter, pettier, and sadistic version of yourself and losing badly. In theory, it's the chef's kiss. In practice, it's like sitting in a swanky Michelin-star restaurant and a Just Eat driver delivers you a cold McDonald's. You're left completely disappointed, and only 60% of the people decide they're so hungry they're going to eat the food. The other 30%, despite the stomach-churning hunger, they leave the restaurant in disgust. Now, EFT, created by Gary Craig in the 1990s, is like the unexpected love child of CBT and acupuncture, thought processing plus tapping on meridian points. Oh, and if me saying meridian points just had you rolling your eyes thinking we're delving into weird pseudoscience from 5,000 years ago, I want to know where you've been, because back in the 60s, when all the cool and sometimes unethical experiments were happening, multiple different scientists in different countries literally proved those things are real. And without me getting all technical, your body, it's an electromagnetic system. You have literal electrical circuits running under your skin, not like in a weird cyborg style way, more like a living network. So kind of like how your bloodstream works. And these circuits have things called nodes, which act like light switches, which allow the flow of energy around your body. These nodes are what have long been termed acupressure points. Those acupressure points, well, that's where EFT slides in. Scientifically, it uses acupressure points. It interrupts the amygdala-driven stress response. It rapidly reduces the heightened physiological state, changes cortisol, gene expression, and brain synchronicity. Over 100 studies now confirm EFT reduces anxiety between 40 and 60% in as little as 5 minutes. Yep, 5. Seriously, not 5 sessions, 5 weeks, or even 5 hours, 5 whole minutes. You can literally do it while waiting for the kettle to boil and see a 40 to 60% reduction in your anxiety levels. Not even your fave brand of chamomile tea can do that. And in fact, by the time your chamomile is brewed, you'll be so chill, you may even forgo the slightly odd tasting drink altogether. So here's a little more of the science stuff just to help explain what's going on. So all negative emotional experiences, whether big or small, create two things. First up, an emotional charge, and second, a physiological stress response. EFT taps on meridian points while you acknowledge the emotion, which lowers cortisol, releases emotional stuckness, resets the emotional memories charge to nothing, stops the spiral of negative automatic thoughts, the same thing CBT does if you do your homework, and clears space for the brain's executive centres to re-engage, which is the same thing counselling eventually does. So think of it like this. Your brain, it's a bathroom sink. Your emotions, they're the water. Your trauma, that's the annoying and slightly odorous clogged brain. CBT teaches you how to think about the sink. Counselling helps you talk about the sink. EFT, it goes full Mario and Luigi, dives right in there with a plunger and unclogs the bloody thing fast. The memory of the event remains, but the emotional charge dissolves, leaving your mind free to choose decisions which help, not hinder your success. And if you want to know how that happened, you need to check out a previous podcast called How an Apple Turnover Obsession Helps You Beat Anxiety, where I dive into the hacking and unhacking of your prefrontal cortex by the amygdala. So EFT versus CBT versus counselling, the final showdown. Counselling, pros: warm, supportive, good for reflective processing. Cons: slow, no clear action steps, and it's fully dependent on a therapist. And the improvement possibility, 60% improvement after months upon months of sessions. CBT, pros: structured, great for phobias and general anxiety disorder, so GAD. Cons: homework heavy, body ignored, high dropout rates, also dependent on a therapist. Improvement possibility, 50 to 60% improved after 8 to 12 sessions if you do your homework. EFT, pros: works in minutes. Body and mind integrated, 100 plus studies validate its efficacy, it's self-taught, combines beautifully with CBT and counselling for even bigger wins. Cons: you look like a dick. But the improvement possibility, 40 to 60% reduction in anxiety in 3 to 5 minutes. In a nutshell, EFT lands the knockout punch before CBT has even finished explaining the worksheet. So why wait months when a scientifically proven 5-minute technique could do the heavy lifting, especially when you find out you can access it for free? And here's 3 free ways to start EFT today. First up, YouTube, the tapping goldmine. Search EFT or tapping for anxiety, and within seconds you'll have hundreds of practitioners walking through the process step by step. Scripts, demonstrations, full routines, it's all there, zero cost, almost instantaneous relief. Just remember, watching isn't doing. You actually have to tap. Number 2, Gary Craig's official site, emofree.com. Go straight to the source. Gary Craig's videos teach the original basic recipe in under 10 minutes. It's simple, repeatable, and works for around 80% of people without needing a practitioner. Think of it like learning to drive from the person who invented the car. And the third way, well, that's the Happiness Hacks Lab. Learn, tap, and transform inside the lab. EFT isn't just explained, it's guided. You'll get the science so you feel confident in what you're doing, the walkthrough video so you see the process without the ads which often plague YouTube videos, the printable step-by-step worksheets taking the guesswork out of your tapping experience, the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that you need to create your own scripts for your specific past experiences, increasing the speed and effectiveness of every tapping session compared to using predefined scripts based on somebody else's words. Plus, you'll also be able to access the community, the Q&A support, and over 40 other tools to help you heal your nervous system. No guesswork, no faff, no what do I do now energy. Most members, they laminate the worksheet and slap it on the fridge. It's as low effort and high impact as healing gets. Look, here's the deal. Your brain, it isn't malfunctioning. It's simply tuned into the wrong frequency. EFT helps you switch channels fast without relying on gurus, gatekeepers, or 1950s therapy models gathering dust. Tap, release, and thrive. P.S. If anxiety is running the show, fix that today, not one day. Grab your 7-day free trial to the Happiness Hacks Lab, no credit card needed, no strings at all, and start with the video Struggling with Anxiety, Do This. Then download the EFT workbook, follow the steps, and watch what happens when your nervous system finally gets a breather. Links in the show notes below. Tap for 5 minutes, feel the shift, and keep going. Your brain will thank you for it. Until next time.